Hey guys, my name is Thana and welcome to my channel. Today we are reviewing the Hyundai Kona and this is the top of the line 1.6 turbo. Let's see what this car has to offer. Let's get cracking. Let's start with the looks. Well, as you know, the Kona is a car that wants to be heard. The looks is extremely different. Who would imagine that today, in 2020, you have cars whereby the headlight is below and the front is, well, the top is like a, well, it's an indicator, it's a signal light, and I don't know what it is. It's a daylight running light mixed with your indicator. That's what it is. So yes, car manufacturers have been very creative in how or where they put stuff. Even the fog light, see that? It's way in the middle of the car opposed to being on the side. You got your headlamps on the centerpiece there, and you've got your indicator and DRL up there. So this is definitely a breakaway from normal design. And look at that, look at that. Do you see that? Yes, little slit here. This doesn't do anything. It doesn't go anywhere, actually, there's no hole there. But the idea is it almost looks like as if it's an air scoop. So it gives it a very sporty feel, you know, that coupled with the fact with this grille over here. And this grille is quite interesting because why? It's got a very metallic finish to it, almost like a matte black, and I quite like the design here. So design wise, I think the Kona receives a 10 out of 10 because look at the profile over there. The side profile is fantastic, especially with the cladding on the side. The rims, oh my, rims, oh rims. These are 18-inch rims on 235, 45, 18. These are definitely extremely big rims for the for an SUV actually. You know, imagine an SUV with an 18-inch rim. The back, as you can see, this reminds me of the Captor because it has got that funny little shape there. And again, similar in the front. In the back, they've put the lights over here, the indicator on the bottom. I believe these are the reverse lights or fog lights, and this is the brake lights. So again, very different design. So design wise, I would say we should give this a 10 out of 10. Next, let's talk about performance. Well, the car is quite powerful for its segment. Imagine an X50 and this is actually pretty much same level as an X50 with a 1.6 turbo engine. It gets about 177 PS. So it's quite up there. It's one of the more powerful in its segment. But I think what's even about this particular vehicle is how the power is derived. What I noticed is that on lower speeds, it's a bit, how do I say, on lower speeds, it almost tries to pull down the power to give you that fuel economy. So that issue the performance is, on high speeds, it's fantastic, it gives you all the power, but on lower speeds, it's where it's actually quite interesting because you get, they claim, up to 21 kilometer per liter. Wow, which is a pretty amazing feat, but I've driven this car for 2 days now and I only got about 9.7, and that's maybe because my foot is heavy. But if it's true, well, I think this is the best of both worlds because you got the performance of the engine as well as the performance it comes to fuel economy. So I would give this a thumbs up too. We're in the Kona now and let's talk about its safety features. So if I get this right, I think I would need to go to, I believe, here. Yeah, press this button here, which is like a list button, and once you press there you get these menu options over here. So driver assistance is where the safety features are. So driver assistance, you've got, this is the cool part, you got SCC response, which I don't know what it is but what I was keen to know about this, driver attention warning. So it has got high sensitivity, normal sensitivity, and off. So in every single setting of this car, it has got ways for you to set what level of intensity do you want it to operate. Because I know all of you, when you drive a particular newer car, you'll get that system warning you when you don't want to. Here, you can set how sensitive it is. So again, lane safety. So they've got lane keep alert. So I believe this is when it alerts you to say, you know what, you are out of your line and stuff. Lane keep assist. This is when the steering actually tries to vibrate and helps to steer you back in the lane. And lane departure warning where it actually gives you a very audible sound and warning to say, you know what, this is quite serious. So I think it's just different levels of service. Lane keep attention, or lane keep assist, lane keep assist, and lane departure warning. Yeah, active, standard, and this. So again, main levels of lane keep assist or warning systems, which is quite interesting. FCA, forward collision warning. So it has, so again, you can off or on is forward collision avoidance, and I believe this is when actually it brakes your car for you. Forward collision warning, this is when it actually warns you the car is going to hit something and gives you an audible alert. And here you can set to be late, normal, or early. I set to early. So again, you know how some cars, especially the Subaru, the warning came in pretty fast. So here you can just set how fast you want that alert to come. Pretty good. This you got your rear cross traffic warning, yes, to be on or off. This is your blind spot, which is over there. As you can see there, gives you a warning there, you know. So if I come here, you can see, yep, this is to be off or on your blind spot collision warning, and back. So again, for in terms of safety features, this car has got plenty, more than enough for any modern car. So again, for this, I will give it a thumbs up. Next, we come to the interior. The interior of the car. Well, if there's something to be said about the car, is that the color trim here. So all these bits over here, this I believe, they look plastic. They look metal, but they're plastic actually. So these bits over here, there, and here, as well as the seat belts, which are in matching color, and as well the trim over here, this piping there. That to me, it's saving grace, because if it wasn't for that, if it wasn't for those little bits here and there, the car will be a very bland looking car. Because I mean, just look at this. You know, just turn the camera for you. Have a look at the interior. This interior to me is very bland. You know, there are not enough soft touch materials anywhere in the car for its price point. And this is hard. This is hard. This is hard. This everything about the dash, it's very hard. And maybe it's meant to be a rugged design, but it's just very hard design. It doesn't feel as premium enough for what this car is being sold as in Malaysia. But design wise, I think it's sufficient. You know how the fact that the vents here go all the way air, loops around. It's a very nice little ball over here. You know, see the ball? This is like a ball, and then it comes out like a vent there. I don't think this is required. Over here, this is nicely built in. Easy to use. You know, like this is something that even that what we call this BMW in their 3 Series fail, because it turns here. You see, it's nice, and it's nice. You know, it's functional, and I have no problem with this. Well, it works. Even this on-off button over here. This is the volume button. You can see on-off volume, and this is the next track. So everything in this car is sufficient. The buttons are where it's supposed to be. Start stop is over here. You got your drive mode there, and you've got hill descent, auto off to save power, to save fuel, and your parking alerts. So yeah, driving, I mean, the interior is nice, but that's all I'll give it. It's just nice, nothing else. What about ergonomics? How easy is it to use this car? Well, one thing I don't like about this car is that the door bins here, they're not very practical, because even this bit here, as you can see, it's slanted this way. So any bottle that's meant to be placed there is on a slant, and I'm not comfortable having a slanted spot to put your beverage or your bottle. Here, there's a small little slit here which can't put in anything at all in there. Other than that, these are fine. These are standard. The buttons do look premium enough, as you can see here. You know, nice click to it. You know, no complaints there. Auto folding mirrors, as you can see, side mirrors are auto folding, and yes, you get motorized, or you get electric seats. But unfortunately, only on this side. On the passenger side, you don't get one. Only on this side. You know, the seats are quite nice. They're quite comfortable. They're quite well padded. They are leather, I believe, but they're not the high quality leather. Yeah, it's just a car that's adequate for this price point, but I wouldn't complain too much about it because it works. I love the fact you got this card holder here. It came in very useful. to put cards in there. This is a plus point. Inside here, a very bland kind of space to put stuff in, pretty small. Okay, I guess not an issue. But one of the more interesting thing about the car is that I love the fact it came with a nice big Qi charging. So this is my phone there. So turn this off, and if you can see how it fits nicely for a Note 10 Plus, and it charges very well even with, one second, yeah, okay, phone is full, sorry, but it charges very well even for Note 10 Plus on that spot. So yeah, finally a key charger system in a car which actually is big enough to put your phone. One thing that I don't like about is the fact in the rear, as you can see, once I go in the rear, so in the rear, as you can see, it's fine, it's spacious, not an issue with that. Even the front here, I've got enough leg room in the front, not a problem. What I don't like is the fact that you don't get any vents here. You don't get any vents here for air conditioning, USB, nothing is here. Even this, I don't see how this is useful, because why? The center here, they've got this tunnel there, which kind of limits what you can actually put in here. And again, that door bin, which I don't think is very practical. You know, even the door card here, there's no differentiation, it's just hard plastic. The cover is just hard plastic. It doesn't look premium enough for the price point. And the back is where it fails miserably, because I think this, why Hyundai, you know, when I press a button here to open up, you can see here, for that, it doesn't even lift an inch. Arish, careful Arish, okay? Okay, normally it will give a small little lift, but somehow it's not lifting at all. And once you go past the 3 inches, only then it flips up. So I believe that bit needs to be improved on. These hinges here, not strong enough, or needs to be a spring in there. Whatever it is, the mechanism isn't good enough. But once you come to the back, let's look at the once you come to the back, into the space wise, you got nice little compartments over here to put stuff in. I don't know what I'll put there, but a lot of space there, and a full tire. So yes, excellent usage of space in the back here to put stuff. And obviously you've got your anchor points for your child seats. You got your points here to put some nettings, whatever, so that things will go around. And you've got,
it's a tire for the wheel, is the wheel flat.
And you've got spots to put stuff in here, like a small cubby hole. Other than that, it's pretty standard. And when it comes to closing, let me show you this. So again, I'm trying to hold here and close this. And now let me just try to close this with one hand now. You know, yeah, I mean, I've had some times when I'll close it, it doesn't close properly. It's a multimedia and information center. This is like a piece of the crown. You know, wherever you get a car, that centerpiece is quite important. And to me, this is important because yeah, it's what your passengers see. One thing I must say though is that to hook up this phone to this, it's very simple. If you just plug in immediately, one second, immediately, yeah, it works very seamlessly. The response time to read the device, it's pretty fast, and I was pretty shocked how well it works. I guess Korean car with a Samsung phone, so no wonder it works pretty well. So you can see this is my Android on Spotify. The sound system on this car, I would say I would give it a 6 out of 10. It's sufficient, but I don't think the audio quality in this car it's good enough for its price point. Oh yeah, one more thing. The system over here, this thing, it doesn't link up to anything in the car. It's purely a system to show your audio and your Android system. It doesn't show anything about the car, the mileage, the trip. You know, it does not link to the car at all, which I thought was, you know what, in today's day and age, you want to see something on the display which shows something about the car. Small complaint, but yeah, it is so. No car is complete without talking about how it drives. On the road, when you get up to speed, this car moves like Mick Jagger. It handles very well. The driving dynamics, I've got a problem with this, with the fact that the traction controls, to my opinion, it overcomplicates too much. I believe that when I turn off the traction control, the car handles better because you kind of can predict where it goes or what it wants to do. When you on the traction control, it does behave very weirdly, and that's maybe me. But yeah, traction control to me was not a favorite thing in this car. But other than that, it's quite nice. It's quite high up. I did expect that car will handle pretty good. The fact it's got very less clearance on the bottom there, and the fact this is a crossover SUV, but the handling wasn't as sharp. The handling is more like a bigger CRV type of SUV. You know, it actually drives very big, although it looks small. And I think maybe that's the fact that the way it's designed, the look of the car itself, the car actually looks as if it's small, but in fact it's not. It's way better than Captur, it's way bigger than Captur, and that's where the profile is.